if we can lose track of our fitness or lose track of our money and not beat ourselves up and then just stay moving forward, we're gonna have a lot better chance of continuing to move forward. And there's a parallel here of just keeping sight of that big picture, that long-term picture. Like, where do I want to be in a decade? And are the actions that I'm taking putting me in that direction?
Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome. We got Mr. Tolleson back in the house, Chase. And so it's my turn to pick the thing. All right. So when I got sober, I realized that the way to change my life around was to create small, manageable tasks that I could start and complete. Okay. And so one of those tasks were to walk every morning, which I absolutely love. I've lost a lot of weight. I'm in better shape than I was, 70 pounds. Right. But mentally, I believe that no thing in the world, not money, not business, not anything, not relationships, health-wise, we as humans put ourselves in certain buckets that I think is almost impossible to get out. And what I mean by that is, a doctor tells you that you're supposed to weigh around 182. So the thought of weighing 168 and being 9% body fat or 3% body fat doesn't even exist in the world. But then you see people do it. And you're like, okay, what's really possible, right? And then, or you fast and you don't really need to eat and you feel good and you're like, okay, well, am I really hungry or do I need it? Like, we've made it so complicated, right? And so what I realized is that I was consistent with my health journey, but I didn't have any intensity with my health journey. And so that's what I'm working through right now.
Yeah. And we can be consistent. It's like throwing darts in a bar, right? And you're playing cricket and you get 3 in the 3 and they don't score, but one of your buddies goes, well, at least you're consistent.
That's so good. That's so good. Yeah. Oh my God. That could relate to so many things. Yeah.
100%, and I'm right there with you on the intensity. I shared in our Instagram group with UI and Conrad, the Rob Bailey reel. He's like, successful people just got to switch and they operate with that intensity and it's always on. And for me, and I could go down like a Jungian path here of like different archetypes. And depending on where you're applying that intensity, sometimes it's stealing from business. Other areas of our life.
It's all business. It's all business.
Like you're really good at putting all that intensity into business.
Oh, because it was so, I didn't have the opportunity to do that because I was so messed up or not in the right vehicles. Now I got the right vehicles, the right people, and I'm just like, I'm plowing it all in here. And it's all like, let's say like, here's business, life, and health. And it's all skewed to the left side. The boat's leaning over in the water, Yeah.
How are you going to right the ship?
So I've realized something about myself, which is the craziest oxymoron in the world. Because when I flip the switch, it's game on. Like, that's just period. So 75 hard, I can do it standing on my head because I'll just commit to it. So I realized this is so weird because I'm the opposite of this. I've done 900 episodes and never had a plan once. And I love to wing it. And I don't, even when I do speeches. But I realized when I track everything like a obsessed person, I commit to that tracking. Like I cling to that tracking. And so I think I'm just going to go all in on 6 months of doing nothing but tracking it, fasting the right way, really caring about what goes in my body, nothing. Like it's for me, and I've always had this personality. There is no middle ground with this guy. It is either maniacally obsessive or nothing at all.
Which we love you for with the last couple of years that you've put in, So Yeah. Um, there's something to be said, the tracking, at least for like 3 to 6 months, it's like, oh, this is what this feels like. Oh, this
Creates
is
new.
what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like,
Well,
oh, that.
think of it this way. Like, so here's the baseline, right? So
Yeah.
here's the baseline. So like as many times as I've done 75 hard, my baseline for what's a normal day is higher than most because that's this thing, right?
Yeah.
So all you're trying to do is just eke up your baselines of saying like, okay, if I track it for 6 months, then I could take what I love about that 6 months and this will be just my normal life. But here's what I've done. That's the evolution of Austin Linney. This is Austin Linney 5.0, we're calling him. So not doing exactly what I wanted to in the last 6 months or not giving the intensity I want, I haven't beat myself up for not doing it. And I'm almost asking myself, what are you feeling when you don't follow through with something and what's really coming up? So like now we're in the next this whole evolution part.
That's massive. That it's really similar to what we were talking about a few minutes ago, on another episode for those listening, with money. If we can lose it, if we can lose track of our fitness or lose track of our money and not beat ourselves up and then just stay moving forward, we're gonna have a lot better chance of continuing to move forward. And there's a parallel here of just keeping sight of that big picture, that long-term picture. Like, where do I want to be in a decade? And are the actions that I'm taking putting me in that direction?
Because it's like, so for me right now, like I want to learn another language. I'm teaching myself accounting, P&Ls. There's other stuff I want to learn. So I'm adding that all in and saying, okay, at 50 years old, what skills, what knowledge, how do I want my body to feel? Okay, I want to be long and lean. I want to feel like I'm limber. Okay, well that doesn't. There's weightlifting involved in there, but there's also Pilates and yoga and more balanced stuff. Okay, so how do we incorporate that whole thing? And for me to correlate towards something more business, as I started moving myself out of the real estate space and into the business space, I knew it was going to take 3 years.
Yeah.
Who thinks of their brand like that to pull it through? So it's the same way when it comes to health. Like this thing that you're starting, in June 1st, the foundation of this is going to take a year to 2 years to build, and then it's going to show itself. Because the fact of the matter is I don't think I've ever in the history of my life learned how to train properly. Ever.
Yeah, it's
But that could be said
something
for like 99% of people probably.
100%, bro. It's something that like I take for granted. Um, there are skills, and to back this up a second, unfortunately, knowing how to train correctly has become a necessity because of the lifestyle that we live. When I was down in El Salvador, you look around there and it's like there's no biohacks, there's no Huberman protocols. These people are just living life and they're all thriving and healthy. Yeah. Where we are, it requires, okay, now we're training. So
because I think that the governors of business, with the age of technology and AI and everything that's going on, the ceilings that used to be placed on smaller businesses to grow big have been removed. And so as an entrepreneur or a leader of a business, you almost have to train like an athlete, because that's the game that you're in right now. And those are the people that you're going up against.
100%. It's this is something I try and get across to my people, but coaches that are building newer coaching businesses, and unfortunately there's a lot of people selling the dream of like, you can build a $20K a month business in 90 days. Like, I mean, yeah, maybe if like you're a coach with a big following and like coaching skills and all you have to do is turn on a marketing machine, sure. Like if you're brand new to business though, it's still a business. Like for some reason I'm getting a little bit away from fitness and consistency, but this relates to the intensity piece. For some reason, people think that building this online thing is going to be a side gig that they can be less intense with than a brick and mortar business and see these massive windfalls of results.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. So then my question to you as we leave you with this podcast is, are you doing what you always said you were going to do, but are you lacking in intensity? So the question is you can take one part of that and chase your edge and chase what you think is possible. Because if you meet him and I, we're going to ask you to double your goals anyway. So it doesn't really matter.
Yep.
Right. And so if you think that you're just, that's, this is my joke. It's my favorite thing in the entire world. Les Brown said, is he goes, I've never seen any big boned skeletons.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the truth. Right. And it's the same thing that people say, well, alcoholism's it's genetically in my body. Well, no, it's not. That's bullshit. No. That doesn't even make sense.
It's a learned behavior. Sure.
Yeah. It's a learned behavior and pattern. And so if you're stuck or you think you might be doing what you say you're going to do, which is great, but you might just not have the intensity to back it up.
Yep. 100%.
Hope everyone got some value from this, guys, and we'll see you next time. Guys, let me take a minute to tell you about my buddies over at Lead Hub, Ben and Aaron, the best humans I know. Not only are they amazing at marketing for trade companies, but Ben started his HVAC company in his garage, sold it for multi-million-dollar. So when this guy talks, I listen. When we took over Dietz Mechanical, we had 22 reviews in 22 years. In 7 short months, we went from 22 reviews to 107. We went from a 4.2 to a 4.7. We tripled our Facebook presence and we tripled our calls. If you're an HVAC, plumbing, electric, landscaping company, and you're looking for a no BS approach to marketing, you're looking for people who have done it before, you got to go to leadhub.net